The Blood Countess, Elizabeth Bathory's chilling legacy of terror. Hey, darkness dwellers and history hounds. What if the most horrifying monster isn't a creature of myth, but a real person, shrouded in whispers and soaked in terror? Today, we're pulling back the veil on one of history's most notorious figures, Elizabeth Bathory, often called the Blood Countess. Her name alone conjures images of unimaginable cruelty, of dark rituals, and of a horrifying quest for eternal youth bathed in the very essence of life. Was she a depraved killer, responsible for hundreds of innocent lives? Or was she the victim of a ruthless political conspiracy, her reputation twisted into a monstrous legend? We're diving deep into the chilling rumors, the scandalous accusations, and the gruesome facts that cemented her place as history's most prolific female serial killer. Get ready, because the truth, or what we believe to be the truth, is far more disturbing than any fairy tale. Born in 1560, Elizabeth Bathory wasn't just any noble. She was born into the powerful, ancient, and deeply influential Bathory family of Hungary. This was a lineage steeped in wealth, power, and often madness. Her relatives included princes, cardinals, and even a king of Poland. But this illustrious family also had a dark side, a history of gout, epilepsy, and violent tendencies, rumored to run rampant through their bloodline. Some suggest these ancestral ailments, particularly epilepsy, which Elizabeth herself reportedly suffered from, might have played a role in her alleged later behaviors. Growing up, Elizabeth was exceptionally intelligent, fluent in several languages, and destined for a powerful match. At just 15 years old, she was married to Count Ferenc Nadasdy, a celebrated war hero known as the Black Knight of Hungary. While he was often away fighting the Ottoman Turks, Elizabeth was left to manage their vast estates, including the imposing Countess castle in the Carpathian Mountains, a fittingly grim stage for the horrors to come. Early whispers suggest that even before her husband's death, Elizabeth displayed a sadistic streak, reveling in the punishment of servants, often with her husband's approval or even participation. These were isolated incidents, but they hinted at a darker side developing within the young countess, a side that would bloom into full-blown depravity once she was left unchecked. The earliest accusations against Elizabeth Bathory primarily involved extreme cruelty towards her young female servants. While corporal punishment was common practice among the nobility of the time, Elizabeth's methods allegedly escalated far beyond discipline into sadistic torture. As her husband, Ferenc, spent more time away at war, Elizabeth's control over Countess castle grew, and with it, her alleged brutality intensified. Rumors spread like wildfire through the local villages, carried by terrified runaways and the grieving families of girls who had mysteriously vanished or returned bearing horrific injuries. These early tales spoke of beatings with whips, sticks, and even metal instruments, often aimed at sensitive body parts. Servants were allegedly impaled with needles under their fingernails, covered in honey and left for insects, or doused in cold water and left naked in the snow to freeze. The Countess supposedly took a perverse pleasure in these acts, finding excitement in the suffering of others. The modus operandi allegedly involved luring young peasant girls to the castle with promises of well-paying domestic service. These girls, desperate for work, would disappear into the labyrinthine castle, never to be seen again by their families. This constant supply of fresh victims fueled the growing whispers among the peasantry, though fear of the powerful Bathory family kept formal complaints silenced for years. It was said that Elizabeth's inner circle, a governess, a sorceress, and several male accomplices, actively aided her in these terrible deeds, keeping the secrets buried deep within the castle walls. The local clergy were reportedly aware of these atrocities but were powerless to intervene against a noble of her stature, further solidifying Elizabeth's reign of terror over her terrified domain. This is where the legend truly descends into chilling horror. The most infamous and hotly debated rumor surrounding Elizabeth Bathory is the alleged blood bath, the grotesque belief that she bathed in the blood of virgins to retain her youth and beauty. This sensational detail, while deeply ingrained in popular culture, emerged primarily after her death and is widely considered to be a later embellishment, possibly propagated to exaggerate her monstrosity and solidify her condemnation. However, the core of the accusations, even without the mythical bloodbaths, remains horrific. It's rumored that as Elizabeth aged, her obsession with beauty and fear of decay intensified. She believed that the blood of young women held restorative properties. Accounts, though often embellished over time, describe her consuming the flesh of her victims, tearing it from their bones, or even mixing their blood into her food. These acts were allegedly performed under the guidance of her alleged accomplice, a local sorceress named Dracula, who purportedly advised her on dark arts to preserve her youth. More credible, albeit still horrifying, aspects of this phase include the torture of noblewomen's daughters who had been sent to the castle for etiquette training. These young ladies, no longer mere peasant girls, were subjected to the same brutal tortures, indicating a widening scope of her alleged cruelty and a dangerous escalation of her practices. It said she had a special torture chamber, a maiden-making device where victims were squeezed to death, and that she would collect their blood for her macabre rituals. The sheer scale of the alleged murders, some accounts claim over 600 victims, is staggering, painting a picture of an insatiable monster driven by a macabre vanity. The legend of the blood baths may be just that, a legend, but it encapsulates the profound terror and revulsion that Elizabeth Bathory's alleged crimes instilled in the public consciousness. For years, the Bathory family's immense power shielded Elizabeth from prosecution. The whispers and disappearances were tolerated, ignored, or simply too terrifying to confront. But the game changed when her victims allegedly began to include girls of minor nobility, or when the scale of peasant disappearances became too undeniable. In 1610, King Matthias II of Hungary, pressured by mounting evidence and perhaps seeing an opportunity to seize Bathory wealth and territory, ordered an investigation. Count Georgi Thurzo, the Palatine of Hungary and Elizabeth's cousin, led the inquiry. His findings were gruesome. Over 300 witnesses were interviewed, including terrified survivors, distraught families, and complicit castle staff. Their testimonies, delivered under duress, painted a horrifying picture of torture, murder, and cannibalism. One witness, a midwife, claimed she had seen over 200 bodies disposed of. Another spoke of a literal river of blood flowing from the castle. On December 29, 1610, Thurzo's men stormed Countess Castle. They reportedly found a scene of absolute horror: dead and dying girls, torture instruments, and dark, blood-stained dungeons. Elizabeth Bathory was arrested, along with her 4 main accomplices: Dorotha Semtes, Ilona Jo, Katerina Banica, and Janos Ujvari, nicknamed Ibis. Crucially, Elizabeth, as a noblewoman, could not be publicly tried or executed. To avoid scandal and preserve the family's honor, she was confined to her castle. A swift trial was held for her accomplices. In 1611, the 4 were found guilty. 2 women were beheaded and then burned, the third was condemned to be burned, and the male accomplice was decapitated before his body was burned. As for Elizabeth, she was walled into a set of rooms in Countess Castle, with only small slits left for ventilation and food. She remained imprisoned there for 4 years, dying on August 21, 1614. While the evidence against her accomplices led to their brutal executions, the swiftness of the investigation and Elizabeth's unique punishment have fueled speculation of a political conspiracy. Was King Matthias truly concerned about justice, or was he eyeing the vast Bathory estates and using the heinous accusations as a convenient pretext? Some historians argue that much of the extreme torture and cannibalism accounts were exaggerated or even invented to ensure a conviction that would not directly involve Elizabeth, thereby protecting the noble class from widespread disgrace. Regardless of the exact truth, her imprisonment ensured the Bathory lands remained within the family, albeit under royal oversight. The trial was a murky affair, a blend of horrific truth and political opportunism, forever blurring the lines between fact and legend in the tale of the Blood Countess. So, what do we truly know about Elizabeth Bathory, the Blood Countess? Her story is a terrifying tapestry woven from threads of immense wealth, unchecked power, alleged depravity, and dark political maneuvering. While the lurid details of bloodbaths might be more fiction than fact, the core accusations of sadistic torture and murder remain disturbingly plausible, rooted in historical accounts and eyewitness testimonies. Her legacy serves as a chilling cautionary tale about the corrupting influence of absolute power when combined with unchecked cruelty. Whether she was a monster born of a disturbed mind, a victim of political ambition, or a complex blend of both, Elizabeth Bathory's name will forever echo through history as one of its most fascinating and horrifying figures. She embodies the darkest fears of what humanity is capable of when insulated from consequences. Her tale forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. How much of history is fact, and how much is embellished rumor? How far would a desperate soul go in pursuit of power, beauty, or immortality? And how do we distinguish between monstrous acts and convenient scapegoating? The legend of Elizabeth Bathory refuses to die. It continues to inspire nightmares, books, and films, a testament to its enduring power to intrigue and terrify. Because deep down, the story of the Blood Countess isn't just about one woman. It's about the darkness that can lurk in the human heart, waiting for the perfect moment to spill over. What do you think happened inside Countess Castle? Let me know in the comments below. And if this dive into the shadows chilled you to the bone, hit that subscribe button. Because here, we're always unearthing the most scandalous and intriguing secrets of the past. See you in the next one.